Hello everyone, welcome to Utility Jude's ration size programmes. In these short films I'll be telling you all about food in Britain in World War II. Oh hello, I've been queuing in town all morning and my legs aren't what they used to be, so before I put my shopping away I've had to sit down and have a nice cup of tea and one of the biscuits that I made yesterday from a new recipe in one of my women's magazines. Lovely. I know that you really want to be back at school, you young evacuees, but it won't be long, I'm sure, before you'll be able to see all your school friends again. And while you're at home, let me show you what food I've been shopping for in town, some of which is my weekly ration and some of it is food that's available off the ration. We knew war was coming before it was declared in September 1939, and the British government had been doing a lot of studying as they were worried that our country would not be able to have enough food if war did break out. And they did a study to see how much food we were actually producing at home. And to try and explain this, let me show you this plate. Now, look at the food on this plate. Imagine that this food is all the food that Great Britain were eating before the war. And what the government were really shocked to find, that actually only this much, only 1/3 of our food that we were eating was actually grown in this country. 2/3 of it, all of that food came in ships from other countries. And of course, with the German submarines, they knew that our brave merchant sailors who were bringing this food to us for us to eat were going to be in danger, and they also knew that a lot of our food might never get to us if the ships were sunk. So what they wanted to do was to try to make our countryside in Great Britain to be able to grow more food for us to eat, so that we would only have to bring a small amount from other countries on those ships. If we grew on our countryside wheat for bread, oats, barley, all those cereals we can grow here, or vegetables, leeks, potatoes, they knew that we could feed far more people better than if we kept cows or sheep that we were going to eat. So what they encouraged farmers to do was to plough up what we call pasture land for raising animals, and instead we were going to grow all these vegetables and cereals. So to be growing more of our own food in the form of cereals and wheat meant that we had less animals. And of course that meant we had less of the food that comes directly from animals. Now, the government knew that if there was only a small amount of something, meat for instance, only a small amount of meat and lots of people wanting it, what would happen would be the price of that meat would shoot up. And that would mean that only the wealthy, only the rich would be able to afford it. The people without so much money, they wouldn't be able to afford to buy any meat at all. And the government didn't want that. They wanted everybody, no matter how rich you were, who you were, where you lived, you had a fair share of the animal products and other food that were in shorter supply but were available as long as they made sure we only had a small amount. Fair shares for all, so that you could have the same amount of butter as you could, and you could. It didn't matter who you were, you could only have the same amount of butter as each other. And it was done through what we call rationing, because what rationing is ensuring fair shares for all. Now, when we talk about the food that was rationed or was on the weekly ration, many people misunderstand this and they think that that was all the food that I have to eat during the war. We have to look at it a different way. It was the food that was in short supply that the government could guarantee you would be able to have every week throughout the year. That's what rationing entitled people to. So what were those items that were guaranteed by the government that we could all have? In the next programme, we're going to talk about that food that was rationed, the fair shares for all.